Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video where you will find links to all of my online shenanigans, including how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to support me on Patreon, and how to get Watch Barbara Knit merchandise. Today we have another Fave 5. I know we just had one last week, but I asked if y'all wanted more, especially considering the time of year it is, and because of the indie designer gift along, that did you want to see more of these and we could just have some fun. And I've decided maybe December is just going to be for this, to have a little bit of fun, because I am participating in the indie designer gift along, part of the permissions that we sign when we sign up for it. It's a Google form, you click off things, and one of them is that acknowledgement that we allow other participants in other participating designers to use our photos of our stuff to promote the event as a whole. I will put links in the description notes below to the indie designer gift along, and what it is just a huge crochet and knit along of 204 designer patterns, and we participate and talk to everybody in the forums on Ravelry, and everybody, it's tons and tons and thousands of knitters and crocheters knitting patterns from these designers and cheering each other on. So it's a lot of fun. Who you are knitting the gift for is entirely up to you. We are 100% supportive of knitting gifts for yourself. So don't think about that. It's just to support people, crafters, in their holiday gift giving, since it is that season. And we need some cheerleaders to keep us going on projects that we may have or may not have taken on too many, or we might not know what to make. And that is what these Fave 5s are about. Now, last week I did 5. This week I did 5, but I picked a slightly different theme. This week's, what I decided is I wanted to pick out non-wearables. Okay, they're things that are going to fall into the home or toy or whatever. They're things that you do not wear. So not a garment, not an accessory, just fun things for your home or yourself or for decorations. And as with last week, something that is relatively small so that you could conceivably get it done by the end of the year. As always, when I do Fave 5s, I'm not necessarily, this is the best. These are the top 5 and, they will win in a cage match against all other designs. It's just when I was looking at and looking through Ravelry with this theme in mind, these are the things that caught my eye. I could do this again in a month with the same theme in mind and come up with completely different patterns, because it's what tickles my fancy at that point in time. I'd love to hear in the comments if any of my selections get you excited to cast on something and get it on the needles. So I have another screen, which is over here. It's over here. And I have Ravelry up on that screen, so I can give you all the details and know that we can do it. Now, I'm going to say right now, this is a Polish name, and I did go and Google the pronunciation, and I did the little thing where you click the little button and somebody says it for you, and I tried, but for me and my understanding, hooked on phonics, there are not enough vowels in this last name for me to have an instinctual idea of how to pronounce this name. I'm gonna give it a try. I apologize to Izabela ahead of time. So this is the Clove Tea Towel by Izabela Grzybek. No, it's not. I know the Y doesn't sound the way I want it to sound. So it's Grzybek, trying. Grzybek. I think it had 3 syllables. It's a fantastic name, I'm sure. I looked it up. It means mushroom, apparently, which is very cool. But Polish. Very cool. And that's one of my favorite things about Ravelry and the international knitting community, that I could be conceivably working on a pattern that was written by someone halfway around the world. And I love that we all get to see all the different things. This is the Clove Tea Towel, and it is a sport weight pattern. The yarns that are suggested are Garn Studio Drops Saffron, which drops you can pretty much get anywhere. Like, you can order it, or she also has a Lion Brand 24/7 cotton. Cotton is a very, very common yarn for a towel like this, because you want something that is absorbent and easy to clean and that doesn't stretch. You know, cotton's just good for these things. You can do things like this in wool, but you might get felting and it doesn't necessarily play that nicely. The needle sizes called for are a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter, and a US 8, which is a 5.0 millimeter. And the yardage is between 219 and 241 yards, which is 200 to 220 meters. Small. This is something you could get done fairly quickly, size-wise, needle-wise, yardage-wise. The size is 14 by 17 inches or 35 by 43 centimeters. So a rectangle. And the cost, it's in whatever the Polish, it's a Z with a symbol after it. So I do not know the unit of currency, but you know, Ravelry will convert that for you. And their romance language is give your kitchen a cozy handmade touch with this simple classic tea towel knitting pattern. Designed to be beginner friendly, it works up easily with a garter stitch base and 2 textured borders at each side for a bit of extra detail. The neat I-cord edges give it a clean, polished look, making it perfect for everyday use or a thoughtful, practical gift, which is where we're coming from. Tech edited and test knit. So she also appears to have instructions. Well, she gives gauge and size for worsted weight as well. So it looks like she does have a little bit of, yeah, the Lion Brand she recommended is a worsted weight. I see. I really liked this pattern. It just looked nice and textury. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm saying it because I love texture, and having this bottom, and I've got a picture that has a more close-up of the bottom. So it starts with garter. And I'm pretty sure this is what US would call a moss stitch and what UK would call a double moss stitch, I believe. And then we've got garter, and then you can see on the other edge, the really nice I-cord edge. It's just a really nice, clean piece that, because of the simplicity of the stitches, is going to be easy to knit. And I really think that the two textures that the designer chose are going to make it so that it absorbs really well, which is something we look for in a tea towel. I may or may not have been the color as well that grabbed my eye, because for some reason this color just really screams tea towel to me. It feels very tea towel-y. But you've got the moss texture up here, and then the garter, and then the moss texture down here with the I-cord. It's just a nice nubbly. It's going to be reversible because both this knit purl stitch down here and the garter are reversible. So it's going to look great on both sides. So I think it'd be fast. I think it'd be fun to knit, and definitely something that you could take along with you if you have socializing to do and you need a relatively worry-free, and you don't have to think about it too hard kind of pattern. So that is the Clove Tea Towel. Da-da-da. Next, I'm just clicking over here. Now, this is the Mini Sweater Adventure by Amanda Scheuzger. I'm going to go with Scheuzger on that. A little bit easier to pronounce than the previous one. And I just thought these were adorable. And what I specifically thought they would be good for is if you are in a knitting group if you have a group of knitters that you knit with, that you meet, you go to like a bookstore, I used to go to bars, you go wherever you go. I've been to tea houses where we met, any number of places, or even a yarn store. Local yarn store is a great place to find a knitting group. If you want to give gifts to your knitting friends, I thought busting out a little pile of these guys would be adorable and a super cute thing to give to crafty friends that I think that both knitters and crocheters would appreciate, that you took a little time and made something for them, even if it's small. Now, these are fingering weight, US size 1.5 needle, which is a 2.5 millimeter, and the yardage it takes is 28 to 30 yards. Another thing I liked about the pattern, because it's like, so all of that sock yarn scrap you got, all that fingering weight scrap you got, you could bust these guys out. And it says it's about 2.5 inches high. She has a couple of yarns here, but I really don't think that it's fingering weight. It's pretty much whatever. It doesn't have to fit. There's no tiny people that it needs to fit. So it says, a quick fun project. These choose your own adventure style mini sweaters are the perfect canvas for your creativity. And this is one of the reasons I picked this one. The pattern includes instructions for 2 classic sweater shapes and 8 colorwork charts. So it's not just here's a tiny sweater pattern. It's here's 2 tiny sweater patterns with multiple colorwork patterns that you can put on them. It says, use up those cherished mini skeins and leftover yarns, experimenting with colors. They knit up quickly, making for ideal ornaments, gift wrap decorations, or even a festive garland to adorn your home. So it has all those different options. Sweaters are knit from the top down. After you complete the neckline, you choose, and this is what she said, 2 classic shapes. You choose from either a raglan or a yoke, a circular yoke shaping. Within the circular yoke, you can choose to knit it in one color or add a colorwork patterns on rounds 7 through 12. Then choose either a plain or colorwork body. 8 colorwork charts are included in the pattern. And it says if your colorwork knits up tight, you can go up a needle size for the colorwork rounds, which that makes total sense. So if you look at these guys, they're so cute. So this top one's going to be the raglan. The one with these little purple, I think they're supposed to be like little tiny dogs. That's a circular yoke. The teal one is definitely a raglan, and I like the color work along the bottom. This one with the gold, that is definitely a circular yoke because of the way that the zigzag blue pattern is coming through. And then the bottom one is a raglan. And then so this is a simple one where the color works around the bottom, a raglan with color work at the bottom. And then this one's just solid. I think this is a round yoke, it looks like. This is just solid with a variegated yarn. So there's a lot of options with this one. I think it's really cute. And even though it's like we're talking about holiday knitting right now, I think this is something that you could just make these little jobbies any time. I really like the idea of putting it on a package, like just as a decoration for a wrapped present that you might gift. And that it could be, these aren't necessarily holiday coded. These could be any time of year coded. So that is the mini sweater adventure. Next up, we've got this. This is one of the things I adore about the Indie Designer Gift Along is discovering new to me designers. And it could be a designer that's been participating in the Gift Along and I just never stumbled across their stuff because you can look and look and look and still not see everything. There's thousands and thousands of patterns. This designer, I had not really seen their work before. This is the Flower Child bag by Cindy. I'm going to go with Pilon, but it could be Pilon, or Pilon. Any of those are going to work. I is a very flexible vowel. And her work is absolutely beautiful. I really encourage you to go look at all of these designers' designer pages on Ravelry or directly to their websites to see their portfolios, because I've only selected one of many amazing things that is on all of their stuff. This one in particular, though, the felted items on this designer's portfolio, there's bags, there's hats, there's kind of vasey things, like bowls, and even a fedora. So anyone who has been like, how do I knit a fedora or a cloche or a bucket hat? She has things like that, and they're felted, and they're just beautiful. I picked out this one because I want it. It's so cute. The Flower Child bag. It is DK weight. You know what? This just distracted me, so I'm going to mention it. If y'all are hearing music in the background, I actually live like right across the road from a state park. And they are having a holiday thing every single night, which involves a large boat sailing around the lake, like just back and forth in front of my house, essentially, with a barbershop quartet on it. So they get very loud because they're doing all this holiday stuff, and they have all these lights. It's really cool. But if you get some noise in the background, I can't help the barbershop quartet. Okay, it's DK weight yarn. The needle sizes called for are US 5 and US 6, which is 3.75 millimeter and 4.0 millimeter, but also there's a 4.25 millimeter snuck in there. That might be a European size. That's somewhere in between 5 and 6, maybe? Interesting. Happens. The yardage required is 360 yards. Keeping it under that threshold for we could definitely do this quickly. And it says it's about 8 inches in diameter and 9 inches high. A sweet little bag with cheerful applique flowers. The Flower Child bag is knit back and forth on your needles in a single piece. The flowers are knit separately. All pieces are felted in either a washing machine or dryer, then the flowers are sewn to the bag post-felting. A blanket stitch border is embroidered around the perimeter of the bag. And since the embroidery is happening after the felting, it's going to be super easy. Embroidering on actual knitted fabric is actually a little more challenging, but since it's felted, it'll be super easy. Notions are scissors, tapestry needle, stitch markers, washing machine or dryer for felting, sewing needle, transparent thread, and then she's got the numbers. And she has a link to where she got the D-rings, get the D-rings and the snaps, the strap for, and you could probably use any kind of strap that you want that's gonna work. You could probably even, if you had more of this yarn, knit just a big long strip and felt it down and have a felted strip that you attach to the jump rings. And this particular page does not say it, but I've looked at other pages of her other pieces, and they say that the pattern includes like really good instructions, comprehensive, I believe is the word she used, instructions on how to do the felting. So if you've never done felting, that the pattern includes that information. And it really isn't. And this is going to be similar to knitting like a big giant rectangle, I think. And then you're going to felt it down. I just think it's super cute. Here is a picture that gives you an idea of the size of the piece. And again, I think it is super cute. She used the Eco Plus Hemp by Cascade Yarns, which is DK weight, and it's 80% wool and 20% hemp, which is interesting. That's probably what's giving it the kind of nubbly texture. And if she felts all kinds of stuff, so if she says that is gonna felt, then I believe her. But I'm sure that like 100% wools are gonna work as well. I'm just looking over here. It's also part of an ebook, and the ebook has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different bags It's a bag sampler. So it's super cute. So if you like the idea of felting, you like the idea of bags, I really encourage you to check out this designer's work. I really want this bag. I want it to be in my life. Okay, next. Again, in the theme of non-wearables, we're sticking with things that aren't like a fitted anything that you wear on your body. I mean, the purse, you could say technically that you wear a purse, but I really didn't feel like I was breaking my own rules. And you know what? They're my rules. I'm allowed to break them if I want. So this is the Shorty Coaster, which I loved the name as much as anything for this, by Shana S. Cohen. It is a coaster, is what it says. And it is DK weight. She used Swish DK from Knit Picks, which is a 100% non-superwash wool. It calls for a size 3 US needle, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. And the yardage required is 30 to 40 yards. That's it. That's not a lot of yardage. Yeah, you can bust out these guys super fast. It says it's a small skill builder project with functional use. The design is a great way to learn to practice a few skills. I-cord cast on, German short rows, and I-cord bind off. Designed for DK weight yarn, Shorty Coaster knits up in a snap and makes a great gift. Samples shown are asymmetrical, but the design is easily modified to make a square or a rectangular coaster. Make a set with the same main color. Use contrast colors for gifts or for yourself. Worked in cotton yarn, this design makes a wonderful decorative accent to your sink. So, she's got a lot of options here for you. Let me see if she's got any other information. So it's one of those things that it's a tiny, tiny pattern, but it's got stuff in there. So it's got stuff that you're going to have to work on and maybe learn things in a very non-threatening manner. I like the two different colors. And let's see, main color. Okay, so you use Swish for the main color, and then she used a Fancy Pants yarn for the other color, but literally it took... Okay, so it says you need 19.7 yards of the gray and 9.5 yards of the contrast color. So that really, it is almost no yarn. You can definitely, hopefully, dig out some scraps to do this with. I really like it. I like it that it's in garter because that makes that part no thought whatsoever while you're learning I-cord, short rows, bind offs, all those sorts of things. And it's just, I think it's cute. And I don't know that I would try to make it a rectangle or a square. I like that it's a little bit on the non-conformist side. It's just a little soft something you can sit down, and I really like the rectangle shape because of this picture. I'm like, you can have a sidecar. you can have snacks on the side. I like this. I have room for my tea and my biscuits. So it's just a cute little coaster that will help you exercise your skills, but it would also make a super cute gift and something you could do really quickly. So that is the Shorty Coaster. Now our last one, if you were with me on my live stream, so the last Thursday of every month, I try to do a live stream. Won't be this month because the last Thursday of the month is Christmas. And there's no point in live streaming then, so I'm going to do it a week early, which is that next week? No, we still got time. So the 18th. This month I'll be doing it on the 18th. What I do is a live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays, and we just chit chat and everything. And last time we talked about the Indie Designer Gift Along, and I was just browsing through the patterns with the viewers, and we were chatting about them, and I came across this, and I about had a conniption fit. I giggled myself almost out of my chair. This fish, it makes me so happy. He's so cute. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would you knit this? But why wouldn't you want to have this thing in your life? So this is the Gansey Flatfish by Alexandria Wenniger is where I'm going to go with. And it is a worsted weight project, US size 4 needle with 3.5 millimeter in European in metric. The yardage required is 60 yards. Very small. The total length is 8. And I love that this says length is 8 inches or 20 centimeters from nose to tail. That just makes me happy. And what the romance is halibut and flounder galore. This small hand-knit flatfish has 5 options for body patterns based on traditional Gansey motifs. I'm not going to get into what specifically Gansey is because I have not researched it enough to really know the lore behind it, but it is a specific cultural style of knitting, like an Aran sweater or Estonian lace. Gansey is a location that is known for making very beautifully textured knits that have very specific motifs that are common to that style and culture of knitting. That's as in-depth as I can go. I'm sure there are books written on Gansey. I just know it's fun textures. But it's like Fair Isle, that it has very specific motifs. And you also have a blank template, so you can create your own motif for these silly fish. I love that she acknowledges the fish are silly. Finished size is 8 inches, approximately 60 yards of worsted weight yarn. The fish body instructions are provided in both charted written formats. The fin instructions are written only. And then at the bottom it says, a second version of the pattern has been added to the file download for making a mini fish in fingering weight yarn. So this one is worsted weight. If you can imagine in fingering weight how much smaller and cuter it's going to be. And actually there's a part of me that would want to do it like boogie weight, like a giant fish. That would be fantastic. It'd be a wonderful pillow. And the mini fish measures 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters nose to tail and uses approximately 50 yards of fingering weight yarn. Recommended needle size for the mini fish is a 1 or 2.25 millimeter. So I find that hilarious. So this is one side of the fish. That's another Gansey. That's a Gansey motif. And what did I say already? That it includes 5 different motifs. So you can make your fish look however you want it to look. I love its little fins. I love its little tail. I love everything about it. It's a very sincere fish. And it brings me joy. And I wanted to share it with y'all because I think it might bring some of y'all joy as well. And a joyful fish is a thing for friends to share. So that is the Gansey Flatfish. And for obvious reasons, it is in the non-wearable category as far as I am concerned. Now, what actual function does this serve? I saw some discussion in the comments where there were people talking about whether or not you could put rice in it and make it one of those rice packs that you can like microwave. And I think that it probably is not dense enough fabric wise, but if you put the rice and like sewed it inside an existing sachet and then put that in when you were stuffing, that might work. Another thing that you could do is you could put lavender inside. People really like lavender sachets. And this could be, you could just throw it in your yarn stash. You could throw it in your the drawers of like where you keep your clothing or anything like that. So it can function, and something about having a fish-shaped one of those does make me happy. So this is the Gansey Flatfish. So we'll go back to full screen. Those were my fave 5 non-wearable gift projects that you might want to consider knitting, and that you probably have time to finish before we need to be actually gifting those gifts, at least by the end of the year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're good with this just being the December thing, then I will probably make another one of these next week and see what other theme. If you have a theme, please suggest it to me in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.